was always fascinated. Even as a little boy, I was fascinated already watching Western movies in the old country. If we go back 400 or 500 years, we used to have anywhere the figure from 40 to 70 million head here in North America. So this animal is meant to be in North America. It's an icon, a total icon for us. We have no hormones, no antibiotics, no feed additives. They spend a lot of time out in the green prairie. Of course, in the winter time, you have to supplement them with feed, but otherwise, we try to push the natural aspect. We don't intervene much. It's the natural cycle. They have their babies in spring, usually April, May, June. And there's very little care as long as those bison have enough water and enough food to look after themselves. So that in itself is sustainable already. We don't push any drugs. We don't need veterinarian care for the bison. Right now we got all the yearlings running with the herd still. We may or may not wean them here in the next few weeks, depending on the weather and other factors, if we have enough feed supply here. But more and more, we like to push that the family unit of the bison. I think it would be great if we could live along with as a family unit. So we may try that this year. A lot of people do wean the calves in middle of winter. That's one way to do. And then, but in a way, I think we almost destroy the social behavior of the herd. So we may try something new and see if that works better for us. We keep the whole family unit intact. We work with a lot of other farmers together, and a lot of them farmers are in for the long term. They see the benefit of the whole industry, the sustainability, which is going to be more and more of an issue down the road. We have to produce the meat in a more humane manner, and I guess we're on the right track with the bison. So.
So today we are cooking 6-course for the Alberta 8 culinary event tonight. Really excited. This morning I went to State and broke down a whole bison with my old chef Scott Pahorlik and a bunch of other chefs from State who gladly lent their time and expertise. So I got a bunch of bison right now that's being rubbed with sweetgrass, and that's going to get seared medium rare, and we're going to serve that on top of a parsnip almond puree, some confit rutabaga that's going to be confit in camelina oil. As well, we're going to have some butter poached Brussels leaves, some bison fat fried Falsina potatoes, a little bit of bison pickled juniper sauce, and pickled huckleberry gastrique. Going back to my heritage as a Blackfoot individual Aboriginal, I really wanted to mine the ingredients that were around us and to utilize them and to showcase them. You know, there's inherently beautiful qualities about every ingredient that we have at my restaurant. Bison is just such a wonderful animal. Like, my ancestors called it the staff of life. Lower fat content than halibut and higher in omega-3 fatty acids than salmon. And when I worked at River Cafe under Chef Scott Pahorlik and Andrew Winfield as a sous chef, who's now the chef in Scotland, has moved on to teaching, they really showed me as a young cook coming up and learning the craft, you know, the respect and the honor that those ingredients deserve. I came up in kitchens that really focused on local, regional, seasonal ingredients. And when we talk about Canadian cuisine and what that means to us, not just as chefs and professionals in the industry, but as a whole culture of people, I think we have a lot of history and wealth of ingredients to draw upon, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal. And I really just want to help out my small way to push forward and move forward Canadian cuisine and the culture of food in Canada.
Myself and my co-chef John from Charcut Roast House have prepared a boar and rabbit porchetta. We've deboned the porchetta, we've stuffed it with a boar kielbasa sausage, wrapped it in boar bacon. We're serving it with a salsa verde aioli and a field green salad and some house-prepared bannock that we've made with Highwood Crossing grains. Our rabbits are from a local farm in Lethbridge. The boar is just outside of Edmonton. And while our entire dish may not be completely traditional Aboriginal, that was our take on the dish, was to have a couple elements of the Aboriginal cuisine and then put our twist on the dish using local ingredients.
Well, the dish today is exceptionally Aboriginal. First Nations pemmican, so it's like dried meat pounded with fat with berries. I used Alberta Saskatoons and cranberries. Basically, you take the dried meat, put it into a vat, pound it and pound it and pound it with, I use bone marrow and soot, but more on the bone marrow side, just to incorporate a little more flavor. If I was to use like just 100% soot, that would just be impalatable because it's an energy bar from way back when, right? So we're doing the pemmican, and then we're doing cured Arctic char, which is going to go on top with Saskatoon compote, and we're finishing it with a little bit of a spritz of cold pressed canola oil, just to kind of liven the thing up a little bit. And I've had this question asked me a lot of times, like, what is Aboriginal? You know, well, I use Alberta Saskatoons, I use bison, I use berries, I use wild sage, right? So basically, that is Aboriginal. It's just spread all over our province, all over our country. I think the big thing that we're missing is it's the curing, the smoking. You know, making food that's able to be packed on while you cross one province to another, right? That's a little bit more of, to me, what it's about. But for me today, I wanted to incorporate really old, why I chose pemmican. So there might be people that'll eat this pemmican today and go, this is not for me, which is what I want. Because I want them to taste what it's really like, mixed with the fish, which is cured, which is common, and a little bit of compote. So that'll be the refreshing aspect of mixing very, very, very old Aboriginal with very up-to-date today. You know, the molecular has been beat up a little bit, but now it's integrated into culinary today. Now we got to think about what's really old and what's really new and mix them all together. You know, bison seems to be a very common wild ingredient, but that doesn't have the flavor that maybe moose might have. I used to hunt when I was a kid too, so we shoot deer, we shoot moose, we shoot rabbits, and when you taste that versus something you buy, it's really not the same thing. And furthermore, I want to be able to make something that is truly Alberta or Canadian, and provide it to someone so they can understand the difference between what's real and old and wild and you know, right off the prairies onto a plate, right? But I would certainly say, let's revisit the stuff that we've forgotten about. Let's slow down in life, and instead of going out and eating everything we can and buying, slow down and wonder and look at the wild Saskatoon bag that's being sold at a farmer's market and try it again. And I think that you'll be surprised that it's Alberta and it's full of flavor and it's made by someone else's hands.